In this demonstration of Net Backup Self-Service, or NSS as I'll refer to it, I'm going to cover some of the concepts, and we'll also have a look at a live demonstration of the system. First of all then, just to position NSS, it's primarily designed to offer self-service and multi-tenancy into an enterprise or a service provider. It has the ability for you to divide up the machines into different tenants, so this can represent different groups or different divisions or different lines of business. And the self-service element is provided through this portal. So this enables end users, so you can see examples of those end users down here who can come in and use the system to perform backup and restore services. And this replaces the more traditional need for backup administrators to come in and go through the main tool. Maybe they've been having emails or help desk tickets or phone calls, etc., to run particular backups. Well, all of that now can be performed by end users through the self-service portal. There's three use cases for NSS. On the left-hand side, the portal that is straight out of the box, so you can install it, stand it up, and have it working very quickly, so that you can allow your users to log into the system to use the portal for backup and restore services. There's also information on health and also information on utilization. So you can see the sort of historical trends for your backups and for the machines that are creating the backup and restore services as well. On the right hand side, if you have your own portal, then you can use the NSS API. The NSS API is a very rich API. It has all of the ability for you to utilize all of the services within your own portal. So you can build out very similar services to what we've got in NSS and utilize that to be able to send those services through NSS to perform backup and restores, as well as you can extract health information and utilization information as well. The middle use case is just really a hybrid. You don't have to go one way or the other. You can use both. A typical example is that you might want to be doing provisioning from one tool, and that you might want to automate that into a backup policy. If that's the case, then you can do that, use NSS to do that. And it may be that subsequent activities where you want to do the ongoing management of that machine might be performed through users through the portal. You don't have to pick one or the other. Both can be used at the same time. Okay then, so on to the RBAC capability. We've got the ability within Net Backup Self-Service for different users to come in and have different profiles within the system. This top screen really covers the NSS administrator themselves, so it gives them a top-level view. They can view utilization information and health information and information about all the machines. At this top level, they've also got a dashboard that shows them information as well. The other two screens then are more geared around a tenant user, so a tenant user logging into the system. This is a tenant admin, so they're seeing a subset of all of the machines that the NSS administrator would see. They're just seeing their own machines, and they're seeing the historical information and usage information, health information that relates to the machines that they have under management. Now, either an NSS administrator or a tenant administrator can configure a user within the tenant. That user can again have a restricted view, doesn't necessarily need to see all of the machines that are under management for that particular tenant, and it may be that they are restricted on particular services that they can do. So a typical example is only to allow restore capabilities to some users. and also, as you can see, they've got a restricted number of machines as well. You can decide the sort of features that you want to show for each of the different user profiles that you want to set up according to the sort of requirements that you have. Okay, so let's jump out of that and go into the live system. At the moment I'm logged in to NSS, and we're logged in now as a tenant within the system. So we can see the sort of health information. We've got these traffic lights here. We've also got some utilization information on the right. If I click into the graph, we can break down into sort of more of a bank statement view. We can also get charge information here as well. But what I really wanted to look at here was just to show you one of the services that we can perform on some of these machines. I'm just going to restrict it, so we're only going to look at VM machines. And I wanted to show you what we've set these up for the ability to go and add these into a particular policy on net backup. So in NSS, we've come and configured some protection types. You can see those protection types down here. Each of those actually relate to different policies in net backup. Now, what we do when we configure NSS is that you can set up some template policies in net backup. Those template policies contain all the attributes that you want to offer to your users. So you configure those templates, you then match them to a particular protection level. In here you can see we've come up with a couple of different schedules. So we've got schedule 1 and schedule 2. The main difference between them is the way I've configured it is that they're both doing daily backups, but the schedule 1 is doing a 1-month retention, as you can see when I hover over it. Schedule 2 is doing a 2-month retention. Furthermore, we've also decided that we wanted to maybe offer different storage options for users to choose from as well, and so we've also put that particular attribute onto here as well. So I can go and choose a daily backup with 1-month schedule and maybe put that into object storage. So if I go and select that, we can see that we come up with a form. So if I click on to protect, we can now submit that request. And what NSS will do is it will submit that request. It'll go through and look at net backup. It'll go and look to see whether there's an existing policy for this tenant with the attributes that we set. If there is, it'll go and add that machine into that policy on net backup. If that policy doesn't exist, if this is the first time we've added machine or wanted to add a machine into a policy of that type, then what NSS will do is it will go and take a copy of the template, and it'll go and create a policy to go and add that machine into, and it'll give that policy a naming convention that will include the actual tenant as well. If when we went in to look at the machine, we decided we want to take it out of that policy, and it was the only machine in that particular policy on net backup, then what net backup self-service would do is to actually remove that whole policy on net backup. So NSS is really managing these machines in and out of different policies. Okay, so we can see that that's actually completed. As a user, you saw how easy it was to just go in, select a particular protection level and apply that to a machine. It's communicated to net backup, it's fed back into the system, and we can see it's now under this particular protection level. It's showing red because it hasn't actually run. Obviously sometime in the future it's going to run. There are options for doing things like backup now or ad hoc backups as well, but I haven't got time to run through that today. Okay, so that's very well if we want to come through the portal to perform this particular action. But what about if we wanted to perform that from maybe another external portal? Well, I talked about the fact that NSS has an API, and as part of that API we have this Swagger interface. So this can really be used for finding information about the API. It can be used for development and it also has sort of a number of test harnesses and useful information here that's going to help you to build out your system to come and communicate with the NSS API. There is, of course, other documentation on this. If you look online on Vox, there's a whole load of information about the API and examples and templates, etc., that you can use. Okay, so let's have a look at a particular portal. So what I'm going to do today is just come in and have a look at a vRealize example. Actually, NSS has, as well as having an API, it has a vRealize plugin. The plugin contains a set of VRO workflows, actions, and endpoints. And the idea of that is that it's quite easy then, makes it even easier then for a development team to come in and build in connectivity from vRealize into NSS. We have a vRealize plugin for other products like ServiceNow. They're absolutely so configurable that you don't really need to have any plugin because you can really build very quickly integration from products like ServiceNow into the API. Okay, so let's have a look at the example like we were looking at before. Let's go and add a machine into a protection policy. So this is a request that might have been built out by a vRealize development team using the vRealize plugin and the NSS API. So first of all, I'm going to go and pick the machine. So like we did before, we went and decided what was the actual machine that we wanted to perform the backup on. So I'm just going down the list here. Let's pick this one, VM003. And once we've added that into the list, we can then go and pick the protection level. So we saw we had protection levels in NSS. Those are actually replicated here. And it's actually a real-time link that's provided through the API that allows you, when you click on the actual drop down there, it's actually going to pull back all of the live protection levels that are available in NSS. So you haven't got to maintain them in two places. This information is coming, as I say, live, real time from NSS. So this time let's pick a slightly different protection level. Again, we've filled out minimal information. And what we'll do is now we'll submit that request. That request is now going to go through vRealize. It's going to go through its workflow. It's going to go over into Net Backup self-service. I'll just refresh the screen so it comes through a little bit quicker. And once I've done that and done another sort on that, you can see there's the actual machine that we added in from vRealize, VM03. We can also see that that's already been added into that particular protection level, which in turn has added it into the protection policy on Net Backup. Okay, so that's the end of this short demonstration. So thanks for listening. Any more questions, please go to www.veritas.com.